All right, everybody. It's 12:15. It's a snow day across the Carolinas. James Brierton with you here as we begin our extended Carolina weather group coverage of this first widespread winter storm. What do you guys think? Do we want to keep music playing while we talk about? Do we want different jams? We could certainly do different jams. But I hope that you are all at home, someplace comfy, and we're going to get started here. This is going to be a fun collaborative stream with you all at home because we are going to be looking at your pictures. We're going to be looking at available sky cameras from across our Carolina Weather Group network, made possible by our friends at WeatherStem and other partners, and also thanks to our Patreon supporters who make what we do here at the Carolina Weather Group possible. That music was a little chaotic at the beginning, I think, but it's a little bit more chill now. You can find us on Instagram and on Twitter, and you can send us your snow photos because I'd love to see them, because what we're going to do here today is we're going to show you where we know the snow is falling. But sometimes the best way we know snow is falling is just like this report from Captain Kronos, snowing 3 miles east of Fingerville. Is that a real place? Is that a real place? Or did I get trolled in the first 30 seconds of my stream? I don't know. Let's go out to radar right now. We have winter storm warnings up across the Carolinas. And, you know, radar is a really helpful tool. And we've got the precip depiction on here, so you can see right now that we've got snow falling in the mountains. Of course, you know that. We can actually see that on the camera right here. This is Asheville. You can see snow is falling in Asheville. Snow has also been falling in Clemson. Taking a live look here, upstate South Carolina, courtesy of our friends at WeatherStem. And, you know, one of our most favorite cameras. It's a classic, it's iconic, and it's here with you right now on the Carolina Weather Group. Here's a live look at King Street in Boone from Resort Cams. See if I can get it to play. I think it's thinking. There we go. 27 degrees there in Watauga County. The snow's coming down. Here comes a garbage truck. Kind of surprised to see a garbage truck without a snowplow on it. Come on. Let's kill two birds with one stone. But that is just a picturesque, beautiful view there. And you know what? This is what snow is all about, right? This is the feeling we like. If we could just all stay inside and look at that out through the windows and make this a fun day, a fun, safe day across the Carolinas, that's the vibe and the mood that I'm hoping to maintain with you all, and not get anything all too serious. And that's why the North Carolina officials did declare a state of emergency, so that maybe your bosses would let you stay home. We know many school students did. Back out to radar right now. You can see that we also have snow falling not only in the upstate of South Carolina and the western North Carolina mountains, and also, yes, this is all snow. So we'll talk about this many times. Across the course of the day, radar is great, but it has some limitations. For one, it can only see what's up in the sky. Can't see what's down on the ground. And snow, for reasons we'll continue to talk about, is very particular to what's happening down on the ground. But also it's blocked by things. Radar is blocked by things like the mountains and the terrain. So we're trying to scan the lowest levels of the atmosphere right now. So the radar beam is kind of literally just hitting the terrain right on in here. We're starting to see on radar reports of this pink, and that's like a precipitation mixing. Could be sleet, for instance, and you know, the radar says it's sleeting right now in Charlotte. I'm in Charlotte. I'm looking outside. I don't see any precip falling, but that's where you come in. So we're getting these things. These are called mping reports. See all these little snowflakes up in Iredell County? Those are individuals on their phones using the mping app, using radar scope integration, and they were saying, hey, I'm a human being here on the ground, and I can tell you right now, it's snowing. The radar is seeing sleet. The radar is seeing sleet because the radar is down here in Greer. And the radar is scanning the sky, okay? But by the time the radar gets to Iredell County, that says 6.6 K. It's 6,000 feet up in the air, okay? So yeah, it's sleeting at 6,000 feet up in the air. But our human beings, our storm spotters on the ground in Iredell County are saying, yeah, but it's colder down here. And I'm seeing snow. And so I hope you'll maybe go and grab the mping app if you don't already have access to it via radar scope or other tools, so that you can tell us. Of course, our live chat right here on YouTube is a great way to tell us what is going on. Happy Lucky Homestead watching on YouTube. Sleet snow starting north of Gaffney, South Carolina along the Broad River. Happy Lucky Homestead. I hope that is, a happy lucky homestead right now, as you're probably hopefully sitting inside warm someplace, so watching the snow come by. That's a perfect report. I appreciate that. Chase Gaming is asking, what is the green? So the green is rain. The green in this mode is just traditional rain. You know, a lot of times when you look at weather radar, we look at it during severe thunderstorms, right? Or tornado warnings. And you get something like this, where it's all green and yellows and reds. And that's intensity. That's intensity. And when we're talking anything that's not freezing, that's all we need. We want to talk about intensity. But actually, we're just asking the radar now to paint us precip types. I want to know if the liquid is frozen, if it's liquid, if it's semi-frozen. And so that's kind of what we're getting. Yeah, it gives me a little bit of intensity readings. For instance, it does look like we probably have a little bit of a heavier snow accumulation right now over Clemson, Pendleton, Sandy Springs. Here's I-85, North Lake, down towards Anderson, okay? So you can see a little bit of that. But what is going to determine who gets snow, who gets sleet, and who gets rain is this temperatures throughout the layers of the atmosphere, okay? And we're going to show those to you in just a second. But because I think there could be some heavier snow falling right now over in Clemson, let's get back out to Clemson. Let's take a live look at the Clemson camera here from our friends at WeatherStem. And I like this angle because you can see not only the sky, but you can actually see the football stadium here, right? So look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You can see the snow is starting to accumulate on those seats, but we can also see it at the bottom right-hand side of your picture. We can get an idea for what is actively falling because of that nice contrast. Chase Gaming right now says it's sleet south of Spartanburg, there in South Carolina. And so that's so interesting, right, Chase? Because that line between what is snow and what is sleet is right here. It's very close, right? So if you live on the south side of Greenville, Spartanburg, you're probably getting sleet right now. And we can see that because the mping reports up here, we're seeing a lot of snowflakes, okay? But down here towards Clinton, we're seeing ice pellets sleet. And, you know, we do have a mping report from 11:45 this morning of snow accumulating on the roadways down here, down towards, let's see, this is outside of Saluda maybe. And we had a burst. We had this cold air burst closer to Columbia, closer to Augusta, South Carolina, Augusta, Georgia this morning. And we're like, whoa, it's snowing there early. It's back over to sleet now. We'll get more to tracking these and looking at cameras in just a moment. But as we get started, and Don's reminding us that it's lightly snowing there in Polk County off of exit number 1 for I-26. It's probably worthwhile for us to say, okay, hang on, time out. What's the latest on this storm, James? Okay, what can we expect as we go on throughout the day? And that's what I want to show you right now. Okay, so let's start with the latest from. Can I start with the latest from the National Weather Service, or are we? Yeah. Okay. So here's what we can expect from snowfall amounts as we go on throughout the rest of the day. You can see that the further north you are, the more snow you're likely to get. We could see 2, 3, 4 inches of snow, maybe some locally heavier amounts, depending on exactly where you're set up in the mountains. It's also going to snow longer in the mountains, okay? But we could see 1 inch of snow kind of all along that I-85 corridor. If you've been in the Carolinas for a minute, you know that I-85 tends to be that dividing line between snow, sleet, and ice, okay? Tends to be snow north of 85 and other mixed precipitation south of 85. And lo and behold, today's snowstorm's not that much different. Okay. So this is kind of what the National Weather Service is thinking. Mount Airy, 4 inches. Greensboro, maybe 3. Roanoke Rapids, 3. Well, even Elizabeth City. Even as we make our way all the way to eastern North Carolina, we could still see an inch of snow. The thing we got to watch for is where we start to hand snow off to sleet, right? Because as the snow amounts go down in South Carolina, because we're going to get maybe more rain or more sleet, more of a liquidy precipitation, we have to watch carefully for the sneaky threat of ice. Because ice is not fun. Snow can be fun if we all practice safe measures. Ice, though, is where I get a little bit nervous. So here's the ice accumulation or accretion forecast that we anticipate we might see today. And I want to, in an all serious tone, point out that red band, okay? Greenwood, Newberry, Winnsboro, Lancaster County, Chesterfield County, and we'll show you the North Carolina continuation of this in just a moment. Okay, that red band means we could see ice accumulations between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. That's enough to start freezing on power lines, bringing down those power lines and resulting in power outages. And I know a lot of you have electric heat. So yeah, the lights could go out. Your Netflix could go out. But we have to start thinking then practically about how am I heating my home? And if my electricity does go out, what are my heat sources and how do I use them safely? What are the safe ways to use space heaters? What are the safe ways to use propane in order to heat my home? Because we could have a certain population here that could not be having a good time tonight if this ice forecast comes to fruition. Let's show you the continuation of that into North Carolina, okay? A little less dramatic, but we could kind of be pushing on that 1/4 inch mark. Rockingham, 0.2. This is ice again if you're just tuning in. Sanford, okay? Rocking Mount, 0.2. They're going to see probably a little bit more snow, which is why the ice is going to be a little bit less. But we'll watch for that to be potentially different. I will take a zoomed in look here on some of the snow amounts coming up in just a few moments so you can get a better idea of maybe what you can expect closer to where you live. But I know we're getting a good amount of comments in right now from people who are watching with us, and I'd love to hear from you because I don't want this today to be a one-way conversation. I want this to be a two-way conversation. So let's get Boone back up. And let's look at some of these chats here, okay? Let's see. We got, I'm not sure how to say this. I'm going to call you X. Sleeting on the west side of Spartanburg. Yeah, Spartanburg, right in there, kind of on that edge. Hendersonville coming in with light snow right now. Thanks, DB. Virginia, not doing much here in western Cherryville and Lincolnton. It's like something is blocking it. I'm not sure what it could be. No one believes me. Lincolnton is responsible. Are you in Cherryville and then there's like a rivalry towards Lincolnton? Is that kind of what's happening here? I understand what you're saying when you say something is blocking it. As somebody who lives in South Charlotte, every time it snows feels like something is blocking it for me. Okay. We sometimes joke that there's a rain shield over certain areas. Why is it, when we're trying to get free water in the summer on our lawns or in our gardens, why is it raining over there and not over here? But you did hit on something that I think is pertinent. When you say something is blocking it, and you're telling me right now that, we're getting some sleet guys across portions of the area. And I think a lot of us who are here right now with us on YouTube probably want to see snow. That's the kind of the assumption I'm working off of. So there is something blocking it. And this is those precip types you've heard me mentioning. Rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. What the heck is he talking about? Okay, so picture a layered cake, birthday cake. You have different layers of icing or different layers of cake, chocolate cake, vanilla cake, red velvet cake, however, maybe it's stacked, right? The atmosphere is the same way. We're down here at the ground at the bottom of this graphic. And the air above us is stacked like a cake in layers. And so when that precipitation falls out of the clouds, fun fact, it always starts as snow or something frozen because it's so cold up there in the atmosphere. But it's the temperatures in between. The temperature is not consistent from the top to the bottom. It changes. If it's below 32 the whole way down on the right side of this graphic, it's snow. That is pure, beautiful snow. If we start to get a little bit of warm air, 32.1 degrees, 32.2 degrees, 33, 34, so on and so forth. You might get sleet, frozen precipitation, which melts in some shallow warm air, then might even refreeze into sleet. Okay, so it might go from snow at the top. Oh, it's a little too warm here. I'm starting to melt a little bit. Oh, it's cold down towards the ground. I'm freezing again. And so you kind of get sleet. Freezing rain. Oh, I'm getting even more warm air. I'm getting even more warm air. Warm air a lot of the way down this trip from the cloud to the ground. Oh, wait, I'm on the ground. The ground is cold. And now I'm freezing on contact of the ground. That's no fun because that's like ice. And we've had a lot of cold days and cold nights the last couple days here in the Carolinas. And so we're going to see some freezing rain in portions of the Carolinas today. And freezing rain, when you look out the window, is going to look like it's raining. But you got to watch the ground. If you look out the window, you go, it's just raining. Let me go out and get the mail. Check that ground. Because you got to see whether or not you got liquid running off the ground or if it's freezing in contact. And of course, you guys are all familiar with rain. You know what rain is. The thing that's going to dramatically disappoint us today, that's what rain is. We'll get to more of your comments in just a moment, but it's been a moment since we looked over at radar. So big picture right now is we're waiting, right? I know a lot of you are watching with me right now from the I-77 corridor off to the west. If you're east of that, your show is yet to come. But we're continuing to get some snow reports right now in upstate South Carolina. As far to the east as let's see, north of Gaffney here. It's going to be coming to Blacksburg. It's going to be coming into Boiling Springs, North Carolina. Patterson Springs, Shelby. That's about as far east that we're starting to get snow reports. So Kings Mountain, you could start to get some snow here in the next few minutes. Eventually onto Gastonia, York, Rock Hill, Fort Mill, Charlotte. It's coming your way here in the next little bit. Higher elevations, it's a little bit easier to get snow, okay? I'd be really curious if anybody's watching right now from Burke County and Morganton, what they're getting, because we can see we're getting snow in Marion. We can see we're getting a snow report out here towards Mountain View on the border between Burke and Catawba. So be kind of curious to know what's happening over there in Burke. And to the south, look at this. Now, this is interesting to me. And again, the radar's reading above the ground, so the reality might be a little bit different. But we know that it's sleeting on the south side of Greenville, Spartanburg. The radar says it, the camera said it, you guys have said it in the chat. But take a look at like this right down here towards Washington, Georgia, pushing into northern parts of maybe the Augusta metro area, not too far from Athens, Georgia. It looks like the cold air is trying to get a little bit further south. And that might bring some snow in. We're getting some snow reports. Elberton, Georgia. We're getting some snow reports. So what does that mean for the people in Greenwood, South Carolina? Or McCormick? Or Saluda? You saw maybe a little burst of snow this morning, but could the cold air continue to work down, thus bringing some of the snow in, or are you going to get more sleet? We'll find out. And that's going to really help determine for us how much ice you guys see as we go on through the day. I am now starting to see some reports here in York County, South Carolina, of snow on the ground. These are human reports, these mping reports. 1215 mping user reporting snow on the ground just outside Hickory Grove, Smyrna, same thing, okay? So even though the radar is showing green for rain, that just means that it's raining actually at about 2,000 feet above the ground. It's that number right there. The radar beam is scanning at 2,000 feet, but somewhere below 2,000, it's cold enough that somebody's telling us it's snow. Maybe it's sleet, maybe it's snow. Hard to say. So anyway, coming into the Charlotte area here in the next little bit, we'll keep a close eye on that. Matter of fact, we might be able to determine this right now, guys, because we've got a camera that is situated on Interstate 85 near Grover. If you ever go to buy fireworks, you kind of know what I'm talking about here. All right, I think it's, is it SC 106? Is that the state road in the area? You guys might have to remind me. But if I go here and I switch out our views, this is right here on the state line. Interstate 85, state line between North Carolina and South Carolina. Obviously, nothing's really sticking. Are we seeing flakes? Maybe. I might be seeing a couple flakes. A couple snowflakes there. Certainly doesn't look like Boone on the left-hand side of the screen. Let's leave that for a moment. Let's look at more of your chats here. Because we've got a lot of you guys watching. Oh, yeah. So Dip on YouTube. Oh, is it? It is using mping. Cool. Absolutely. And Dip, I don't know if that means that you had YouTube up, watching my screen share, and maybe also had mping up. Maybe if you submitted a report, did you see it show up in real time? You'll be able to see that. That'd be really cool. Oh, Rhoda, thank you so much. Nothing here in Morganton yet. I'm sorry to hear that. Again, I'm coming at this as if you want to see snow, but I appreciate you hearing me when I asked what Morganton was. Same thing with Amy. This is the land of our co-host Scotty Powell, who lives down in Myrtle Beach right now. But he was born and raised in Morganton. He loves you guys, and I know if he was there right now, he'd be rooting for some snow. And absolutely nothing falling here in Northwest Charlotte. Not yet, Ann. Not yet. I'm in South Charlotte. It's coming soon. The question is, how much snow are you going to get? How much snow am I going to get? Because that Interstate 85, man, it's going to be such a boundary layer. Such a boundary layer. Matter of fact, let's show you some of those more zoomed in projected snowfall amounts. Okay, I showed you earlier. This is kind of the big picture. Okay, but we can zoom in a little bit. And this is by National Weather Service Region Office. My wife was asking me how we came up with these views, because they're not metros, they're not TV signal areas. Anyway, so and if you're in Northwest Charlotte, you might get a little bit more snow than me. Maybe you get an inch. Maybe I get a dusting. Can I borrow some? Asheville maybe 2, Marion 3. If you're watching from Morganton, yeah, we anticipate you'll get some snow here. You'll be getting some snow. Greenwood, Newberry, Columbia, Edgefield, Clemson, Greenville, Spartanburg, that whole area of South Carolina coming in at 1 inch. I'd be real curious, and we're going to check here in a second. We're going to check in a moment to see how much snow you've already gotten versus how much might come later, because we got that little burst this morning. And I wonder how that plays in. We have a way to check. We'll check in a minute. All right, if you're in northern parts of North Carolina, this map's for you, even though most of it's Virginia. And if you're watching from Virginia, hi. Okay, North Wilkesboro 4, Boone 4, Mount Airy 4, Clemens 3, Greensboro 3, Chapel Hill 1, Henderson 3. Let's go to the Raleigh area, okay? You can see a little bit more now. Roanoke Rapids 3, Lewisburg 1, Henderson 3. This is how much snow we expect this will be on the ground by the time we're done with this whole event. Lexington 2, I don't think I mentioned you yet. You can really see it drops off fast. If you just drew a line, east-west horizontal line out of Charlotte, man, it just really drops off. Is this my Outer Banks map? Yeah, there it is. Okay, Elizabeth City 1. Nags Head, maybe you'll get a couple flurries. Okay, a couple flurries. We have a chance that this overachieves a little bit, because Myrtle Beach wasn't really in any of the maps, and they were getting some flurries earlier. Okay, so if you're in Ocracoke and you're like, I'd love a flurry, maybe. There's Elizabeth City 1 to 2, Windsor 1 to 2. Again, a little bit more of Virginia on that one. Back down towards Wilmington again, so you can kind of see once we get to I-95, your chances of really seeing anything in terms of snow really drops off. But we know for a fact that some wintry precip made it into Myrtle Beach, because our friend and yours, Scotty Powell, did post some pictures of frozen precip that fell in Myrtle Beach. I'll show you in a minute. Let's just finish our little tour here first. Charleston, Beaufort, Hilton Head. This isn't your snowstorm. Augusta, Georgia, 1 inch. Barnwell, you're kind of at that cutoff there right there with Orangeburg. And as we move the map over towards Columbia, you can kind of see how that kind of works its way back on through. Let's see what's happening right now in Columbia. Columbia, South Carolina, I assume. This is the USGS cam looking at the Rocky Branch. You know, I actually saw snow on the ground on this camera earlier, and it's gone now. But you can kind of see this weather stem cam. Looks like liquid rain to me right now on the lens, but it looked more frozen to me earlier. So you guys are kind of right there, right on the cusp, back and forth. Let's go to Greenville, South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina has got another weather stem cam. I believe it's positioned kind of like up in the mountains and then kind of looks down towards Metro. I think we'll be looking south. If I can remember where G is in the alphabet, there it is. Let's get those. Can we get those fonts out of there? Yeah, I think we're getting some frozen precip. This is Greenville, North Carolina, but I'm pretty sure this camera's on the north side of town. Let's go back over Interstate 85 there on the state line. I think we're seeing some more snowflakes. This is right there in Grover, North Carolina, South Carolina. Yeah, okay, so Rich is with us right now from Kings Mountain. So Rich, you're like just north and around that bend there on Interstate 85, and he's got flurries, and the camera agrees. The camera agrees. Oh, this comment, yeah, I feel you. Wait, what? Less than an inch in Charlotte? So the whole thing ebbs and flows, right? So I know when we were with you Wednesday night for our weekly weather podcast, we had Charlotte's Brad Panovich on. And we were kind of thinking maybe Charlotte was going to be more in the like solid 1 to 2. But what happened is we're starting to see a little bit more warmer air. And so some of that snow is being spent as sleet, we think, as we go on through the afternoon. So I can actually show you what the computer model thinks is going to happen. And this is all the difference. And these things, guys, they change by the hour, right? So the computer model thinks that Charlotte, for example, is right there on that dividing line between the blue snow and the mixing, which is like that pink purple. And where that line goes is going to make or break your day if you're hoping for snow. Between where I am in Matthews, on the southeast side of Mecklenburg County, and Monroe and Union County is going to be probably 2 different scenarios. And so, but you can see there are pockets, right? There are pockets. Union County, South Carolina, it thinks is going to be snowing in 2 hours. So it's hard to say. You could ask 62 different computer models for 52 different scenarios. But you can kind of see what the difference between now and where we were on Wednesday when we were doing our weekly weather podcast is that purple and that red. It was further south in Charlotte. Charlotte was more like solidly in the it's going to snow range. And I think it was Tim Buckley, Chief Meteorologist WFNY, who was on our show on Wednesday, too. I think what he said was something like, what did he say? He was essentially saying, we never really get snow further south than we think we're going to get snow, but we tend to get less snow further to the north. Like the line, when we're looking at this dividing line, in our experience, it feels like it never really like, oh, wow, the line's so much further south, so many more people got snow. It tends to come up, tends to go north on us. So if you're hoping for snow, that's not always fun. So how does the computer model compare to what's really happening outside our windows right now? Because honestly, we can sit here and talk about geeky computer models, but we're into what's called nowcasting. What is happening right now? Because that is going to be the best determinant. And so I'm getting reports from mping of mixed precipitation now in Lancaster, South Carolina. And so we're starting to see, even the radar is starting to shade this area here as blue. Okay. And so if you've got mping, like these folks do, you can see we're starting to get mixed of ice pellets and snow as far south as Kershaw, Great Falls, and even Fort Mill. And we have another wonderful weather stem camera that is located in Fort Mill. So let's take you there right now and let's see what is happening in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Did I forget the alphabet when I put all these cameras in the system? I got it listed under Rock Hill. Apparently, I have it listed under Rock Hill. It's close between the two of them. All right. Thanks, WeatherStem. What do we got here? I don't see anything yet. It's not to say the mping reports are wrong. It's to say that's how hyper local this scenario is. Anybody in chat from York County, South Carolina? Let's see. Oh, Sleepwalkers in Lancaster. Out of my window, nothing yet. Yeah, I feel you. Nothing in Greensboro yet. Starting to snow in... Todd, do you go with Cherville? I know a lot of people go with Cherville, but I've lived here 10, 15 years, and I was always told it was Cherville, and then somebody swore to me the other day it's Cherryville, and I was like, I don't think it actually is. I think you're pulling my leg. But it's good to know it's snowing there, because that's helping us determine how far to the east all this is coming. And for anybody who's like, where are we even talking about? Why are they discussing how to say the name of this town? Let me show you. It's right here. It's right here amongst what the radar thinks is sleet. But Todd's saying it's snow. And I believe you, Todd. I don't know if that's your mping report or if that's a second verification, but I think it's snowing now in portions of Cleveland and Gaston County. So I think, Charlotte, this is coming your way here the next little bit. Let's go to Hickory. It's been a moment. I don't know if we talked about Hickory yet. Top County. St. Stevens, over towards Conover. The radar's got a pink for sleet, but you human beings on the ground are telling us it is snowing. And I will take a human any day. Well, now, is it snowing in Salisbury already? Granite Quarry? I know. I just saw a comment in chat a minute ago. Nothing yet in Greensboro. Matter of fact, let's switch radars. Okay, we can go to what's the perspective from Roanoke, the perspective from Raleigh. I don't know. I don't know if it's snowing yet in Salisbury. That's what mping is telling us. So you guys at home are telling us it's snowing here in Rowan County. Okay, so I'm over here. I don't see snow yet. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Nothing yet in Concord, according to Watch Woman of the Dragon. Todd has seen snow back out there in Cherville with his own eyes. Save some of it for me because I'm not sure we're going to get it. Okay, so Sean helped us with a question I had about 2 minutes ago. Thank you, Sean, of whether or not he's seeing snow in Rock Hill yet. He's not. Somebody is, because somebody saw it. Is this a little south of Carowinds? Yeah. Oh, towards Catawba River, maybe? Yeah. Okay. But not in Rock Hill just yet. Liberty Hill, South Carolina, we got sleet. Butter is watching from Toccoa, Georgia. It's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place. Been there myself several times. 2 inches of snow so far on the ground. Dip from central Spartanburg. It's all just melting right away after landing. Car just looks like it's been lightly rained on. Yeah, I think a lot of us are going to maybe have some cold spots. Like if you got a shady spot on the ground where it's cold, it might stick there a little bit better. But yeah, I don't know how much of us are going to be able to go out and sleigh ride because I just don't know how long it's going to stick on the ground for. I think that's going to be the tricky part here. Tiny little flakes falling in western Cleveland County. Thanks, Minecraft's Last Green Man. Okay, so Amy's in Salisbury. We're right north of Salisbury. And yes, it is snowing. All right, we got snow in Rowan County. Thank you for that, Amy. Our next, Amy, I don't have much of a camera to show, but I don't know if anybody's able to find us on Twitter and Instagram and send some pics. We'd love to see it. Our next weather stem camera is going to be up here in Thomasville. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I don't think I've shown any pictures yet, and I promised you I would. All right, so let's start with Scotty Powell, who is in Myrtle Beach and is a co-host of our show. He's originally from Morganton, but he's down there right now working at WBTW in Myrtle. And he sent some pictures. You guys can find us, Carolina WX group on Twitter, on X. And you can also find us on Instagram. So this is what Scotty saw. Yeah, that's sleet. That's definitely some sleet there. He saw this in Myrtle Beach. So they got a little bit of that precipitation in Myrtle Beach. Little frozen precipitation. You can kind of see it's bouncing, right? Because it's got a little bit of a, like, I'm kind of ice. But it's definitely then kind of melting right back over to liquid form. I think he showed there's a little bit on the ground. A little bit. All right, well, thanks. Evan Fisher is here outside of Asheville about an hour or so ago. You can see that the roads are wet and white. And certainly the roads are going to be slick in some spots. We know officials have been trying to prepare for the storm ahead of time. South Carolina DOT sent us this video. You can see the truck there brining the road, a mixture of salt and water on the roadway surface that will help try to prevent things from freezing on it. But the best is just to stay off the road. Just to stay off the road. We do know there's been some just travel nightmares today. Charlotte Douglas did show off some of their fleet earlier in the week, saying, hey, we're ready. We are ready for the winter weather. And you know what? I'm sure, kind of a benefit of the doubt guy, I'm sure they're going to do the best they can. But weather is tricky. Sometimes gets the upper hand. And you can see right now, look at Atlanta, Hartsville, Jackson. Oh my goodness. FlightAware's misery map. It's miserable in Atlanta right now, folks. Absolutely miserable. Canceled flights, 149, delayed 57. And those are the ones that probably just weren't canceled or delayed ahead of time. But you can see very few flights are operating on time. Most of that circle is red. How's Charlotte? Charlotte's fourth in the country right now, behind Atlanta, Dallas. It's Chicago. This storm is big. This storm is impacting Chicago. It impacted Texas. And I think we're going to see this. I think we're going to see this go up, unfortunately. Right now, Charlotte Douglas International Airport, 29 canceled flights, 35 delayed flights. And as the snowstorm continues off to the east, DC, New York, I'm sure it'll be coming up next. All right, I'm gonna check our tweets. Is it okay that I call them tweets? Yeah, we do have a picture from Andrew. Andrew here is in Anderson County, South Carolina. Snow started at 8:15 this morning. Nice little dusting so far. Yeah, thanks for sending that pic in, Andrew. Appreciate you doing that. A couple of you watching from Matthews, North Carolina. Howdy, neighbors. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet here. I'm doing a double take. Yeah, no, still nothing yet. So over on Instagram, we're carolina.weather.group. Rolls right off the tongue, I know. But if you want to tag us in something, we'll keep an eye on those too. Let me refresh this camera here in York County, South Carolina. I think it needs a think it needs a refresh. No, maybe not. All right. Let's just let's go through the cameras here. Let's see what I got to show you. Okay, so Asheville. Let's go to Asheville now. It is certainly snowing in Asheville. Not too terribly surprised to hear that it's snowing in Asheville. Beach Mountain, Western North Carolina. There it is. These are the views that I think we're all like hoping for. Okay, but most of us are not going to get this picturesque of a view. It's just not going to happen. This is the mountains. This is where that sort of thing happens. Let's keep touring cameras, shall we? I'm skipping over some that I know are not going to have anything yet. Banner Elk, resort camps, snow certainly on the ground. Boone. There you go. Lots of people still out on the road in Boone. I mean, I know this is like any given day that ends in Y for you folks. App State. Are you there, App State? Yeah, let's go to Blowing Rock. Blowing Rock. I wonder, anybody in the park? Anybody in the park? Oh, let's make that bigger. Come on, James. There we go. Come on, pan. I want to see the kids playing in the park, having snowball fights, building snowmen. The camera turns. There it goes. No, the park's pretty quiet. Looks pretty quiet. Okay, Columbia, South Carolina. Come on, Columbia. Nah, I don't see anything there, guys. All right, I'm showing Chapel Hill because I want you guys in the triangle to know I see you and I hear you. The show is just not to you yet, but you're here. We're ready for it. Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium, knocking on your door. It's knocking on your door. It's gonna be coming your way real soon. Real soon. And when it does, we will be ready for it. Charleston. Hello, friends. Oh, no? I will go to this camera. There you go. Gloomy. Clemson's been getting some nice shots. Again, you can kind of see it accumulated there in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I think the snow is still falling. Has been for 2 hours now, as best as I can tell. The winds are calm too, and that plays a huge. Like if you're going to go outside and try to enjoy the snow, having calmer winds rather than getting punched in the face by cold wind chill makes a difference. Makes a difference. I have a camera in Cornelius. I do have a camera in Cornelius from resort camps over there on Lake Norman. All right, nothing yet. Nothing yet. Although we were getting reports in Rowan County, so you can see that. It's a little spotty right now. Greensboro. Nothing yet. Doesn't look like it, but it's soon. It's soon, I think, Greensboro. Coming your way, man. It's coming your way. Greenville, South Carolina. This is Greenville, South Carolina now. Yeah, it's snowing there on the north side of Greenville. North side of Greenville's definitely got it. That's Greenville, North Carolina. Later, guys. Later. Morrisville. We're doing this alphabetically, in case that wasn't apparent. Morrisville, North Carolina. Anything? Loading. All right. Marion. A little snow. A little snow there, Marion. Maybe. Myrtle, are you still getting any overachieving precipitation types? Not really. Not really, no. All right. Again, Raleigh, your time will come. Rock Hill, how about now? No, coming soon to a theater near you. Winston-Salem? We have like 4 cameras in Winston-Salem. Somebody must have a flake somewhere in Winston-Salem. Come on, Winston-Salem. No, but Winston-Salem State University does clearly have the ice melt out on the walkways. a little thick in those centralized spots, guys. You're supposed to kind of spread it. Whatever. All right. That's some of the cameras for you. Some of them. All right. While I was doing that, you guys were certainly typing. Dip starting a fight that Greenville, South Carolina is better than Greenville, North Carolina. I do think that would be a fun YouTube series. Yep, certainly no snow yet in Charlotte. Yet the radar shows we're in the middle of it. I will answer that question in a moment. I'm going to mark it. I'm marking it. I'm coming back. I can explain the radar thing in just a moment. Nothing yet in Greensboro. Barry. All right, Barry. Robbinsville. Here and loving the snow, Barry writes. So, Franklin, North Carolina, nothing yet. Nothing yet in Stanford. Ragu, if I'm saying that right, 34 degrees, light sprinkle, about 8 miles from the ocean. So you're somewhere along the coast, but 34 degrees, you're kind of right there on the edge. Hey, thanks everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. I see some of your names popping up on the screen right now. Do appreciate that very much. Few flakes right now in Vale. Oh, watch Woman of the Dragon, commenting and subscribing. Thank you so much. No snow yet in Gastonia. Says wet Pop-Tarts. What's a wet pop? I don't want to know. All right, well, soon. Maybe soon. Maybe very soon. All right, so... Survival Geyer says, I'm directly across from Charlotte Douglas Airport. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Joe Bruno, WSOC, tweeting earlier that Charlotte Douglas International Airport for the first time will get to use its new de-icing pad that they got with the bipartisan infrastructure bill money. Yeah, Charlotte, a lot of Charlotte folks, you're with me. Hey, fun fact, when it starts to snow in Charlotte, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take the camera and we're going to go outside. So, if you want to see me be cold, stay tuned. All right. Okay, so another question related to radar. Union County, South Carolina. Radar says it's been snowing for hours and nothing but rain and sleet. So let's talk about how radars work, because I think they're kind of key to understanding why in a situation like this, the very best way for us to know what's going on is what you guys are doing in the chat by commenting or by submitting an mping report. I've been using a lot of mping reports today. They have been fabulous. Okay. And we're going to talk a little bit briefly here about radar technology and why it has some limitations that are really felt on days like today. So here's a little bit on how radars work. The radar in this graphic is on the left-hand side of your screen. It's over here. You guys can see my mouse, I think. And it kind of goes out, but it doesn't, I mean, it goes out flat, but the ground is curved. Because spoiler alert, the Earth is round. And so what happens is as that beam, which is relatively flat, gets further away from where it's being transmitted from, the ground starts to curve away. Okay, the globe, the ground. And what ends up happening then is that beam is actually getting higher in the atmosphere. And when the beam gets higher up in the atmosphere, what it is then displaying for us on radar is less about what's happening on the ground and more about what's happening 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 feet up in the air. And so when you couple that last graph with this one, these are the precip types. And so there's different types of precipitation, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, that are some variation between all liquid on the left, all frozen on the right, and kind of a mixture in between. But what's happening is the radar isn't scanning the ground at your house. It's scanning somewhere above the ground at your house. So for the many folks who are with me right now in Charlotte, our nearest weather service radar is in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. And so as that beam travels, let's do uptown. Okay, it travels about 83 miles to uptown. It's now at 5,000 feet in the sky. And this same logic applies if you're watching from any other place. And so what the radar is telling us when it's painting those areas in pink is that it's sleeting at 5,000 feet. It's not sleeting at Bank of America Stadium. It's sleeting 5,000 feet above Bank of America Stadium. And so that's why we need the ground reports to tell us what is actually making it to the ground. Is it snow? Is it sleet? Is it rain? What temperature? What reality is happening on the ground? Also, there's a scenario, and this is also key to what some of you guys have been seeing, where it is snowing at 5,000 feet above your head, and then it's drying up and evaporating before it gets to you on the ground. And so that's why the radar is a little misleading at times. But lots of human beings right now over York County are starting to report snow mixing in here, okay? So the radar is showing us sleet, and some of these reports are for sleet, but some of these reports are for snow. And so we got snow now working its way into York County, South Carolina. We also have snow working its way along the US 321 boundary in Gaston County. And so that's why I think if we go back over and I change our camera to Rock Hill, I'm just not even convinced this camera's not like frozen or something. Come here, camera. Hang on. Here's what we're going to do. Carowinds has cameras. Let's go to Carowinds. Carowinds. Okay. Let's go look at Carowinds. I don't see it there yet, but I believe all those mping reports that it's close. I absolutely believe you. You're very welcome for the clarification on how radar works. And I never intend to, and hopefully it doesn't come across this way, I never intend to be condescending in any way. I just want to try to explain, because I think a lot of us now, we all love looking at this on our phones and things, and there's some key information that helps interpret what we're looking at, and also there's some stuff on our phones that are just wrong. iPhone users, your app this morning told you we're going to get 3 to 5 inches of snow. I don't know where it got that from. I haven't heard a single human forecaster call for 3 to 5 inches in Charlotte. I don't know where Apple got that from. 1 to 2 inches, sure. There were definitely human forecasters calling for 1 to 2 inches in Charlotte, but I don't know where Apple got 3 to 5. Bessemer City is getting snow, so that's that US 321 corridor there. Nothing in Hickory. That's so interesting. I thought we were getting some snow in Hickory, but again, it just kind of depends maybe where you're tucked in. Miles and Rock Hill. Yeah, I'm looking here too, Miles, because if it's not snowing where you are in Rock Hill, I think it will be snowing very, very, very soon. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to check out some more cameras in York County, because I feel like we're on the precipice of seeing some snow on a camera. Nothing yet on I-77, guys. I'm looking at, I know you can't see on the screen, but I'm looking at I-77, and I don't see anything just yet. I don't think it's really come that far east, but I feel like we're really close. I feel like we're getting there. Snow flurries here in Dallas. All right, thanks. We were just talking about Dallas. I removed weather apps from my phone. They're so useless. Yes, look for ones that have human forecasters tied to them and not just computer bots. Snow flurries here in Dallas. No snow yet in Valentine. That makes sense. See, it's interesting that it's coming down pretty good near Salisbury. The precipitation wrapped, I guess, around. Cold air wrapped around. That's fascinating. Big snowflakes right now in Asheville. So that's pretty good stuff, guys. That's pretty good stuff. I appreciate all of those reports. So what we're going to be doing, where is this video? Greensboro, North Carolina, not yet. If you're talking about this right here, this is Greenville, North Carolina. This is Greenville, South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina. It's almost time for my afternoon caffeine. Milk and bread, everybody. That's right. Oh, so you say reports from weather bots. Okay, so no, what I was talking about is, so a lot of the weather apps that are on the phones use computers to forecast. And computers are helpful. They're guidance. They give us good indications. But there are minutiae they miss, especially in localized areas. So if you're just letting a computer populate, and this is out of your control, whether you have like a Google or an iPhone, like when you look on your home screen and it's like, oh, hey, you're going to get 5 inches of snow later. Who's saying that? Is it the computer or is it a forecaster? I have no problem with, like, okay, right now my Google phone, my Android says it's 30 degrees outside. That 100% makes sense. Like, I trust a computer to make an observation. But my Microsoft computer in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen says I'm getting 3 inches of snow today. And that wasn't, a human didn't review that. Microsoft is getting data from somewhere. My day job, for anybody who watches our podcast, probably knows this already. My day job is in the WCNC local television, so I get to work with the great team there, Brad Panovich and team. And like, I'll just tell you that if you download the WCNC app, the forecast, like for Charlotte, they actually put in to the app as humans, and so it's not just like a computer guessing. Computer guessing can be helpful. I love technology. This is not a like I hate AI rant. This is just like I'm clearly seeing some automated things get it wrong, and that's what's up. So it feels colder than 30. Yeah. So when you couple the air temperature with the wind, that will make it feel even colder. Flurry's starting right now in Ballantyne. Thanks, Brandon. So on the south side of Charlotte, right there on the South Carolina line, grocery stores are packed. I know, I went yesterday. You would have thought people were preparing for war. How much snow will Matthews get? We'll be lucky if we get somewhere between a trace and half an inch. Sorry. And I say we, because we. So what can you expect from us here at the Carolina Weather Group throughout the day? A little bit of what kind of we've been doing right now with you. Taking in your reports, showing you cameras. We'll have a kind of a rotating cast of people. So we're a weekly weather podcast, Wednesdays at 9, right here on YouTube or wherever it is that you get your audio podcasts. And you'll be seeing kind of a rotation of some of our hosts throughout the day. We'll be checking in with you, kind of see what you're seeing, try to help you answer some of the questions you might have, especially when it comes to like, what is radar doing or what does the forecast say? We also have access to talk with the National Weather Service. I just realized it's been a minute since I looked up on my screen there. And I don't really have much in terms of reports anyway to share. But, you know, we can kind of get an idea of what's happening by talking to, we can talk with other broadcasters and other meteorologists and emergency officials. So like, as we go on through the day, I hope now is the time, if you're not already home, to get home. We know like a lot of people head off from school today. And so the roads are going to get dicier as we go on through the remainder of the day here. And so if you are watching right now from someplace that isn't home, go ahead and get on home. Lake Norman snow start time within the hour or so. Yeah. Concord, maybe 1 inch of snow. When will the sleet turn to snow in Rock Hill? Miles, that's a great question, and I don't know that I can guarantee anything. Your best shot will be this afternoon. But we're in a totally just now, we'll know when it happens type of situation now, is where we're at with nowcasting. Let's zoom the radar back out. And, When did this snow report come in? 12:41, south of Columbia, between Columbia and Aiken there. Interesting. That is real interesting. It's been snowing for 20 minutes in the foothills of North Carolina. Where are you in the foothills? But that sounds right. Is the mixing correct on radar close to Anderson? Yes. Yes, because A, that's kind of where we thought it was going to be, and B, you can kind of see. So we have the blue and we have the pink. That's the mixing on radar that you're obviously referring to. I'm just letting others know what it is that you are seeing. And it's these mping reports. These are human beings who are putting in all these little circles. So you can see, yeah, we have this snow, but like this is all mixing. These are all humans on the ground saying it's mixing. mping is a great app. You can download it. It's built into things like Radar Scope, which is what I'm using right now, but you can actually just download it as a standalone app. And you can not only tell me what it is that you are seeing, because obviously we're using it, but weather service uses mping, and broadcast officials use mping, and so that's a great way just to be a part of the conversation today. Citizen scientists, you can let us know what it is that you are seeing and help everyone out at the same time, because there's only so many places where official snow records are kept. So like for Charlotte, and again, I apologize, that's my bias. We'll have folks on from other areas coming up here. But Mecklenburg County is huge, but it has to snow at the airport in order to count. So if it snows University City, we won't officially know that unless you guys tell us, which is where it's so great that you guys are all here right now with us. And I hope you will stay with us as we go on throughout the course of the day. Like I mentioned, we're going to leave this. Our plan is to leave this YouTube stream running all day. And so you can essentially just hang out with us right here, wherever it is that you watch or listen to YouTube. It's obviously pretty versatile, right? On your smart TV, on your phone, on your tablet, whatever it may be. And so you can continue the conversation. You can continue tracking things as things are happening. Is it going to snow in Columbia, South Carolina? You guys might get a little bit more. I know you got a little burst this morning, but I don't know. When will the snow get to Raleigh? So let's show Futurecast here. To help with the question of when. And so I'm going to refresh my computer data as I put it on the screen here. So, and I'm going to switch this over to precip type. There we go. All right. So, by the way, nerd moment. We were talking about, let's go this view. Okay. Like, oh, how good are computers at predicting what's happening. So when we look at this like computer model run, for instance, this is what it thinks is going to happen. The computer here is telling me this is what's going to happen like in an hour. That's in the top right of your screen. But if you look at the bottom right of your screen, like I feel like we're kind of already a little past that. So the timing's a little off. We can compare now, the bottom right of your screen, to the top, which is the future, and kind of get a sense for like if the computer's got a good handle on it or not. But if that's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. We're getting close to you now, Raleigh. 7 hours. Maybe you're getting some flakes here. This is 8 p.m. tonight, Raleigh. And you're kind of, again, you're right on that edge, just like the rest of us along the I-85 corridor for what is snow, what is sleet, what is ice. You can kind of see, lo and behold, it's hugging that I-85 corridor. And that's going to make a big difference between who gets what. And if you weren't with me earlier, I do want to mention, sure, there's going to be this stark cutoff. Northern Mecklenburg County, maybe you get 1 or 2 inches. Same thing with like Wake County and Raleigh, okay? There's a stark cutoff then between where the snow was then mixing in with ice. And the further south you go, it eventually becomes all rain. What we need to watch for is this. Okay, this is the future computer prediction for ice. And when you start seeing numbers 0.2, 0.25, 0.3, that's enough to start bringing down power lines. So somewhere between, say, I-85 and I-26? I-20? There's going to be this strip where we're going to get ice. Yeah, I-20. And that's where people are going to start not having fun if they start to lose power. So I just kind of want you to think about that. Anne says it's snowing in Winston-Salem. Anne, thank you for that report, because that is cueing me in to go to our Winston-Salem camera. Okay. Let's take you over to Winston-Salem. Let's see. We have Winston-Salem. For some reason, we have lots of cameras, which I love, which I absolutely love. And I believe Anne. I believe Anne when she says it's snowing in Winston-Salem. It doesn't happen to be snowing in front of our camera yet, but it will be soon. It will be soon. All right, what we're going to do here, we got lots of you watching with us on the Carolina Weather Group, and we appreciate that. We've been going for about an hour now. And we're going to leave this stream running throughout the day, and myself and others will be rotating on through to keep you updated on what's happening with the storm. And we've got this thing here that we call the Carolina Weather Net. You can see it on your screen right now. And it rotates through cameras just like this one that you're seeing on the screen right now. And it will also be showing you radar, so you kind of know where it's snowing and where it's not. It also has those mping reports, those critical mping reports. See right here, you can see all of those little star things at the top of your screen. Those are you guys at home telling us it's snowing using mping, as opposed to the pink and the purple, which is sleet, and the rain, which is kind of almost like a blue thing down below. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take a. I'm going to step away for a minute or two. But I hope you guys stay with us. And what we're going to do is we're going to leave this loop up and running, and we're also going to replay some sound. There was a briefing earlier today with North Carolina state officials, newly elected Governor Josh Stein, North Carolina Department of Transportation. He also spoke about Western North Carolina, and he speaks a little bit about what they've got going on there with regards to knowing that there are some people who are still recovering and were impacted by Helene, and thus may not have a warm, safe place to be as we continue to deal with the ongoing recovery of Helene. So those are certainly some folks who are not having a great time today as it's snowing. And so they do have some information, and we'll discuss some information about what it is that they have going on there for people impacted by Helene. So I hope you stay with us. We're going to play this. It goes about half an hour. We're going to leave, if it lets me. Does it let me? We will leave our Carolina Weather Net looping so that you guys can continue to see what all is going on, because I don't want you to lose track of anything that's happening live and in the now while we listen to some of this official sound. But they will have some good phone numbers. They'll talk a little bit again about how they've been preparing the roads, which is a pretty critical factor here in North Carolina. North Carolina does have a state of emergency that is in effect, and so it's, I think, important to be able to hear a little bit from them. But let's listen into them, and I will be back with you in just a little bit as you continue to watch coverage of this winter storm here from the Carolina Weather Group.
Those lines are now being answered today to address your unique situation, because you should not be forced to leave your temporary shelter if you do not have alternative accommodations. Thank you for the question.
There are no more questions online.
All right. Thank you so much.
That was a briefing with North Carolina Governor Josh Stein and other state officials a little earlier this morning. As we continue to keep an eye on things here, I'm James Byers. Thanks for watching with us on the Carolina Weather Group. And for sitting through that briefing, just important to get some information there on what folks who are in charge are doing. In the time that we were away, I can tell you here in southern Mecklenburg County, where I am, we did start to get some sleet falling. And as you look at the radar right now, you can see we do have a variety of mping reports coming in from portions of southern Mecklenburg County and along the state line with South Carolina, showing that we do, in fact, have several folks, including myself, who are starting to see forms of frozen precipitation. And that's good news for those of us who have been biding our time, waiting for that to come along. We'll take you outside here to Charlotte from Weather STEM. And I think if we take a look at Bank of America Stadium in Uptown, we had a comment from Miss Hendo, is it here? Yes, saying that she was seeing some snowflakes starting to fall on that camera. I'm sure you did, and I'm sure more will be on their way here in the next few minutes as some of that starts to come in. I did want to mention this comment from Dustin. So why that person say 6 inches in Charlotte? I'm not sure who that person is, but we here at the Carolina Weather Group never called for 6 inches. I think optimistically the most I saw was 1 to 2 inches of snow in Charlotte. Could be closer to that 1 inch mark here. The trend today versus where we were the last couple of days is that the snow amounts in Charlotte did come down as the sleet and the ice line came a little bit further north. So Interstate 85 is going to kind of be where that dividing line is. Snowboarding, Kobe says snow sleet last 15 minutes or so south of Charlotte. We also are noticing as we make our way up more snow reports right now towards Conover, Hickory, Newton, in the Catawba County area, and a good number of them coming in right now. If I switch our radar over to where we get coverage for Winston-Salem, High Point, Thomasville, we're getting some snow there. So I'll pop Charlotte up, but just know that I'm going to now change Charlotte back over to some of those Winston-Salem cameras. And we were getting reports before we went to the news conference that snow was starting to fall. And lo and behold, there it is at Winston-Salem State University. Snow starting to fall right now. From the sky there in Winston-Salem. So Greensboro, you will be next. And Ashley telling us the same thing with snow now starting to fall. Appreciate that report so much there. And Thomasville just started as well, too, with small flakes. And so you guys will start to see if you can kind of get to that maybe 1 inch mark here in the next little bit. Do see a comment that says no sound. I'm hoping you guys are able to hear me. I think you can. And so wanted to make sure that was certainly the case. So there's all reports also of snow falling in some areas, Gaffney for instance, but no real accumulation. And yeah, I think some of these places we could be seeing snow, but could be hard pressed to see actual accumulation the further north you can probably get from Interstate 85. Jackson Station in Union County, light rain, 33 degrees right now. Freezing rain back over in Anderson, and that's really where that dividing line is between the snow and the sleet is right over there in that Anderson County area. Kind of has been as we have gone throughout the day. We kind of have this line right now. It's just maybe a little south of Interstate 85 where we've got sleet versus snow. And so that kind of holds true as you push your way back up towards the Triad. We know that we got snow in Salisbury, and we know we're getting snow right now in Lexington and Thomasville. I don't know if anybody's watching from Asheboro, Troy, Seven Lakes, Southern Pines. The radar thinks it's snowing. Oh, I think we just got a new storm report. Yeah, 140 snow. North of Troy here, 120 snow. Biscow, 128 snow. So it does look like we kind of have maybe it's kind of like right along Interstate 85 until you get to Davidson County, and then maybe kind of has a little bit more cold air working its way back in. And so that maybe means that if you're down towards Fort Liberty or Southern Pines, Sanford, you might have a better shot of getting some of that snow as we continue to watch. This is kind of the advancing line. This is the front line. It's moving off to the east. So we'll be coming into the triangle here over the course of the next few hours. And so we can see right now a pretty good, healthy amount of cold air seems to be reaching the ground right across the midsection of North Carolina. And that makes sense when you think about the fact that our icing concerns were real thick right on through here, but not so much as you made your way towards Raleigh, where we could see maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow, depending on where you are. Radar says it's snowing in Greensboro for the past hour, but I haven't seen any snow yet. We've gotten this comment a couple times today. Radar is not necessarily great for telling you what's happening on the ground. It's telling you what's happening thousands of feet above you. It's snowing thousands of feet above you. But we need cold air all the way through the atmosphere to actually reach the ground. And so we'll start to see probably actual snow reaching into Greensboro here pretty imminently in the next few minutes. Matter of fact, the radar does say it's snowing in High Point, but I don't have any human beings reporting snow on mping right now. The closest I have is Thomasville. So I think you'll start to see that change here in the next few minutes as we can certainly see that it is snowing in Winston-Salem. I like this comment. Starting to feel bad for people. This is nothing like the weather we get up north, where you get feet of snow in a blizzard. Stay off the roads. Not for the inexperienced folks. Yeah, and I think that's a good mental picture when people think about snowstorms or the imagery that comes to mind, like when you think of say a white Christmas. That is not what we're in for. You got to go up to the mountains to get something that you're really going to be able to play in. Where it's going to be, has been snowing, will be snowing, and will continue to snow for a long time. Even those of us who get snow down here along the I-85 corridor, there's not going to be a whole lot of it, but we got to watch for ice. We got to watch for ice as we head on through the rest of the evening. Working in Raleigh, should I be okay if I leave at 5 to get home at 6? Frank, if you can get out a little earlier, I think that would be better. Earlier in our stream, we did say the snow probably wasn't going to make it to Raleigh until 7 or 8. Everything seems to be trending just a little bit earlier. So if my window earlier was 7 to 8, my window now might be more 5 to 6, based on the fact that we are starting to get mping reports down towards Asheboro. And, that's only 60 miles to Raleigh. I can tell you here in Charlotte, a lot of the county offices that weren't already closed all day did close. The libraries and stuff closed at midday, at noon, to help people hopefully get home. Yeah, don't drive on ice. Yeah, ice is no fun. Ice, we get sad when we only see a trace amount of snow. But a trace amount of snow, half an inch of snow, the impacts are pretty minor. But if you get 1/10 of an inch of ice, 2/10 of an inch of ice, 3/10 of an inch of ice, the impacts can be major. So we certainly don't want to see that. Absolutely, Frank. I hope you get home safe. And I think a lot of us will just be in a position tonight to hopefully stay inside and stay warm. We're going to continue to keep an eye on it. This is you heard it in the news conference. It's a fast-moving system in terms of weather systems, in terms of snow systems. It's going to be in and out by the time you kind of wake up tomorrow morning. This is going to kind of be a system that moves through the Carolinas throughout the rest of the day. But for us here at the Carolina Weather Group, what we're going to be doing is we're going to leave this stream going throughout the day, and myself and others across the Carolinas will be coming in to give you updates and talk you through a little bit about what's happening. But we got to break it up a little bit in order to make that sustainable. And so to do that, what we're going to do here is I'm actually going to get ready to go head outside here in Charlotte, see what things are like. And I do have a camera ready out there to talk to you guys once we start to maybe get some snow here in the Matthews area on the south side of Charlotte where I am. But in order to accommodate that, I need to get up from here to move over to there. So we're going to send you back over to our Carolina Weather Net here. I'll play some jazz music for you if that's the thing you like, so that you have some information in terms of some entertainment and some information as you wait for me to pop back up. We got Tom Miner, Scotty Powell, Frank Strait all be checking in as we head on through the day here with us. But our Carolina Weather Net is going to continue to stream. It's going to rotate through the cameras. It's going to show you the mping reports and give you an idea of some of the forecast throughout the region. So we'll take you back over to that. Hope you hit subscribe and stay with us here in the Carolina Weather Group, where we have a weekly weather show every Wednesday night talking about weather science and technology. And then days like today, we get to hang out a little bit more. So I'll be back with you in just a little bit as I prepare to move outside here in Charlotte to show you when some of the sleet turns to snow. You're watching the Carolina Weather Group. James Brereton back with you here, Carolina Weather Group. Time is 2:25. Been watching the Carolina Weather Net. While I stepped away, I've been preparing a camera for you outside here in South Charlotte so that when it does start to snow, I can step on outside and enjoy it with you guys. While I've been away, we got a few more reports that snow is starting to fall in some places across the Carolinas, including a couple text messages in Charlotte. Yeah, I think we do have snow falling here at Bank of America Stadium in uptown Charlotte. You can see it right there up against the Jumbotron. And that is certainly good news for the many, many of you who have been with us throughout the day waiting for that snow to arrive. We're getting hundreds of mping reports now across Mecklenburg County. And I don't have anything here in Matthews yet, I don't think. There might be a light something falling, and we're going to go investigate. We'll make this update brief, but I did want to also show you that I think Greensboro, your time has arrived. And if we take you out to Greensboro, I think there are some flakes. If you look against the darker contrast at the bottom of the screen, go for the Guilford County Emergency Management Office. These cameras are a little harder to see just because the contrast is not there, but I certainly think it is now snowing in portions of Greensboro when you consider not only that the radar is blue, but that we have these mping reports. If you're with us from the Triangle, we do have the now out towards Goldston, an mping report. That's kind of the closest to you guys. You guys are still in a little bit of drier air. It hasn't quite reached you guys yet. And off to the south, Columbia, we're still getting just reports of icing. Even down here in South Carolina in Lancaster County, Chesterfield County, just icing right now. So I do still have a couple of lingering snow reports in the upstate of South Carolina that are fresh from the past hour or two. And we'll see just how much more precipitation might be with us. If I just briefly switch over to the Atlanta radar, you can still see we do have precipitation back on with us, which, this will be with us. The storm will be with us as we continue through the rest of Friday evening. Closer to the western North Carolina mountains where it has been snowing, will continue to snow, lots of snow there. We can still see that I do have an mping report of snow accumulating on the roads and sidewalks, I-77 corridor near Mount Airy, right there on the state line between Fancy Gap and Mount Airy. And maybe a little bit of a heavier band right now coming through the upstate region of Watauga County. But I think our big headline right now, as we near 2:30 here on the Carolina Weather Group on this Friday, is that the sleet is turning to snow here in Charlotte. And we'll switch this Greensboro camera over to a couple different angles we have here in Charlotte. Again, this is looking from Independence over by Bojangles. You can see the snow is falling there. We've lost visibility on the skyline, if you know that drive along Independence. Up at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte area, University City, not seeing any snow on this particular angle as we continue to watch a bus go on by there, but we're also seeing the snow falling at Bank of America Stadium in Uptown. We'll leave that shut up. We'll check in with a couple of your messages here. Timothy saying nothing yet in Burlington. I'm scanning through. Chris telling us steady snow falling in Winston-Salem, Kernersville, and Greensboro. 1 mile south of Mooresville, still nothing yet as of a few minutes ago, but that's not too surprising. We saw nothing up at UNCC, but we still see snow in Uptown, so it's filling in. It's filling in. It is snowing Graduating from flurries to snow, says Christopher in High Point. Still waiting it out in Sanford. Light snow is now falling up in Cornelius. I think we have some cameras near Cornelius. I don't know if they're actually in Cornelius or not. That actually might be right up here. Resort cams kind of up there on the lake. Certainly expect to see more of that filling on in. I got an anxious child with me. Up there in Cornelius and Davidson, I have anxious children at home too. Hence, I have to keep stepping away from time to time because you guys have a snow day, and so do we. So do we. Rich, excuse me. Very light flakes, flurries, Huntersville and Cornelius area. And Frank was asking about the raindrops on our map there. So yeah, the pink. If I go back over to the Carolina Weather Net, some of those pink drops are like a mixture of freezing rain on this particular thing. All those star things almost kind of look like spiders in North Carolina right now, where the snow reports, and then the purple and the pink are mixing. So yeah, I know that's not the clearest of maps. Matter of fact, Frank, we're working on some newer maps that we hope to have out to you guys soon, so that it'll be a little bit clearer. Maybe next time. Adam says flakes falling in Greensboro right now, and so appreciate all of those reports. Sleet turning over to snow in Lancaster, South Carolina. Sleepwaker. And Christopher in High Point says already accumulated on the roads and in the cars. So I know we got a couple of messages on X that showed where some of the snow has been accumulating. And so we'll... oh, man. Yeah, look at this one here. This is from our friend of the show, Andrew, frequent viewer. And he sent this to us. He's got about an inch of snow here, maybe a little shy. This was 11 a.m. this morning. And I know he told us earlier he was in Anderson County, South Carolina. Pretty icy looking snow there, Andrew. Looking at your picture, kind of see like the little individual ice pellets. And then Lost in Space. You can see, I think this is a good representation of what I think a lot of us will get. It like sticks to the roads, maybe a little bit on the grass. Those of us who see snow when you're outside the mountains can probably get a lot of this. It's going to be kind of hard to play in. But hey, it is going to be some of the first snowfall we've had in 3 years in some places. I know last week before, we did get a couple bursts of snow here and there. Officially in Charlotte, we've not had snow since January of 2022. We did have some snow towards the end of last year that impacted the northern parts of Mecklenburg County, but because it didn't snow at the airport, it didn't count. We have to get measurable snow at the airport for it to count, and that has just now started. And so you can see that here. As I mentioned, I'm going to get ready to go on outside and prepare to talk to you guys from out there. And that does require some logistics. We've taken our crew here at the Carolina Weather Group, and we've kind of spaced them out throughout the day to make this a little bit more sustainable. And so you'll see me a couple times from outside. We'll be joined by Tom Miner coming up here in the next few minutes. Excuse me. And I'm going to continue to keep an eye on these cameras. Hope you guys don't mind when we go over to the Carolina Weather Net. Like I said, it makes it a little bit more sustainable for us, but we can make it a little bit more interactive. I can change the music. We've been playing a lot of like jazz music, but we could certainly change up the music to I have like chill hip hop, I have lo-fi, I have R&B, I have pop. Not like Taylor Swift pop. I don't have the money for that, but pop like music. So if there's something you guys kind of want, acoustic, I do have that. I have ambient atmospheric sounds. I have no idea what that is, but it's a button I can press. So take the next minute or two. Let me know what kind of sounds you want here. So I'm prepared to go back over to the Carolina Weather Net. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to move myself outside here in Matthews so that if it's snowing, I can show it to you on the ground, in addition to the great network of cameras we have from partners like WeatherStem and Resort Cams. Jay says where he lives in Charlotte on the northwest corner of I-485. Got a good amount of dusting and flurries. So yeah, I think you're going to have a better shot up there, Jay, than I am. And so I'll be coming your way later, maybe. Got any Metallica? I don't have any Metallica, Frank, and I don't have anything. The LOL does tell me that I know you're kidding, but yeah, I don't have anything that's going to sound like any artist in particular. Lo-fi. All right. The first answer that wasn't Metallica is lo-fi. So Feather Sketch. This next section of the Carolina Weather Group is for you. We're going to do some lo-fi beats. I'm looking to be back with you maybe about 3 o'clock-ish here. I do appreciate all the comments you guys are sending us in the messages. Hopefully you've had a chance to get on home. If not already, we can see that, the snow is going to be moving into Raleigh here in the next little bit, and it's already now stretching across portions of the western North Carolina, I-77 corridor, upstate South Carolina, and we're going to keep a close eye on ice as we go into the evening hours. What is fun and games right now, but where it's snowing, we're going to have to keep a close eye on ice. So don't forget about that either. So here's some lo-fi beats as we take you back on over to the Carolina Weather Net. It'll show you cameras, it'll show you radar, and I'll be back with you hopefully from outside here in the next few minutes. You're watching winter storm coverage from the Carolina Weather Group. Winter storm warnings up across the Carolinas right now as we're continuing to keep an eye on how things are playing out. So let me get my ugly mug back on the screen for you so you know you're not just talking to a wall here. But I've stepped outside where I am. I'm just outside of Matthews. Downtown Matthews is just a short stone's throw away. Here in southern Mecklenburg County, over the course of the last, 30, 45 minutes or so, we've noticed sleet starting to fall. You could actually hear the individual ice pellets, and that's what so many of you are seeing and reporting right now across the area, is that we're getting a lot of sleet in portions of the I-77 corridor, essentially from here in Charlotte down on south, waiting patiently to see if this will turn over to snow, because when I was with you at 2:30 here on the Carolina Weather Group, our weather stem cameras were showing that snow was falling at Bank of America Stadium. I mean, we are right there on the edge, as we all so often are, on whether or not we're going to see any real snowfall here on the south side of Interstate 85. I will tell you, it's cold, and I don't have my gloves in my pocket like I thought I did. Do I? Are these my gloves? I do have my gloves. That will help prolong this out a little bit. But you guys can keep typing into chat, telling me what it is you're seeing. I'm going to pull chat up here on my phone in the next minute or so. On the left-hand side of your screen, you're continuing to watch the rotation of cameras and radar imagery we have from across the Carolinas, so that you guys can continue to kind of see what's what. Right now, you're looking live. Let's see, where is this? I think I can actually make this bigger. This is Greenville, North Carolina. It has not obviously made it to you guys yet, but it will be coming to you guys here in the next few hours or so. We know it's knocking on the door of the triangle, and you can kind of see that on the radar view here. I know this doesn't show the coloring that we like to see, this particular animation of what is snow, what is sleet, what is rain, but it does show us the mping reports. All those little stars, all those little things that look like spiders, those are snow reports right now. We've got them in upstate South Carolina, where this camera is in Greenville, North Carolina right now. You can see snowflakes continuing to fall right now across the region. It's 29 there in Greenville with light snow and fog. So reduced visibility, great time to be home, just hanging on out there. But we know not too far south of there, just on the south side of Interstate 85, you guys have been showing a lot of sleet as opposed to snow. So quick cutoff. The Charlotte area is beginning to see snow. I think a lot of you are optimistically sending in mping reports for snow, because I can tell you when I was here just a few minutes ago and it was sleeting, I was seeing mping reports for snow. And yeah, maybe you had snow where you are and I had sleet, but I think there was a little optimism going on there. I do see the ever so slight flurry where I am right now here in southern Mecklenburg County. It is certainly of a magnitude that is almost impossible to see, and I'm sure the camera's not picking it up. But it's different than when it was sleeting half an hour ago, because when it was sleeting half an hour ago, it was pretty steady and pretty consistent. So if the atmosphere wants to start turning this over to snow, I would certainly be happy to take that. Looking back at the radar, we are again seeing frozen precipitation now across the Triad, as we have been for the past hour or so in Greensboro, and just starting to see a couple of reports over there towards Raleigh. That's KRAX over there near Raleigh. I'm not seeing much in terms of frozen precipitation there on the left side of your screen, much south of, say, maybe York or Lancaster or Chester County. Kind of, you draw a line from Greenville, Spartanburg there in the upstate, horizontal line straight out across the state. That's where we're going to get a lot of that kind of cutoff, and we're probably not going to see much else in the way of frozen precipitation. And so as I pull up chat here, let me get back into the conversation with you guys and see what it is that you are seeing. Be sure to tell me where you are in addition to what you are seeing. Then that'll help us out there a lot too. We got lots of snow right now in Winston-Salem. It's been snowing pretty good there for the past probably about 2 hours now. So Winston-Salem, if you are pro snow, you guys are doing a solid, great job there right now. Chimney Rock starting to get, let's see. Oh no, Sebastian saying he's feeling for places like Chimney Rock. Yeah, we know there are a lot of places who are still recovering from Helene, who are really not in for the fun of winter weather or snow or this year. So we got some very light accumulations right now in South Charlotte. I don't even know if I would call it accumulations, but maybe you got something else where you are that I don't have. But it was good to see snow on the cameras, says Anne. Glad we could bring those views to you. And so we'll continue to look at some of your reports that are coming on in here as we're continuing to wait to see if we get any snow where I am in South Charlotte. You know, it's no accumulation was that chat, and certainly that feels about right here in South Charlotte. Christy says absolutely nothing in Concord, which is interesting, Christy, because it snowed in Salisbury. We know that there was snow in Salisbury earlier, so you know it's not always a consistent line, certainly, and appreciate you watching with us here on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube and for sending in that report. Walking you through again what we're seeing on the left-hand side of the screen, a lot of that frozen precipitation in terms of snow is north of the Interstate 85 line. South of there's a couple areas that are managing to perform, especially as you start making your way into North Carolina, central parts of the state. But here's a live look at Raleigh right now. We're not seeing any snowfall there just yet. Probably as we draw closer to that 5 o'clock hour and that dinner hour in Raleigh, we'll start to see some of that overcoming the dry air and able to fall across the region. You know, there's a lot the atmosphere has to contend with. Not only are the temperatures different above and below freezing throughout different portions of the atmosphere, but there's also some dry air mixing in there too. So as you're looking at your radar apps, you know, you might see that it's snowing where you are, but is that really reaching the ground is kind of the $1 million question that will really impact what it is that you see in terms of snow, sleet, freezing rain, or regular rain. It's that freezing rain that's going to be real tricky as we head on into the evening hours, especially as the sun starts to go down. It might look like it's raining where you are, but it's because liquid is falling from the sky, but then instantly freezing on contact with the ground. So do be careful if for any reason you're out and about later, but it's really just going to be best to stay put if you can, so that you don't have to get all too mixed up in it. This is Aiken, South Carolina here. They got a burst of snow this morning, but you can see a lot of that is already gone, and that's clearly a raindrop on the camera there from our friends at WeatherStem. So we appreciate that update. We'll have more from the Carolina Weather Group coming up throughout the day. There's not much for me else to say right now. But Frank is still with us in Raleigh, and I think he's saying he's getting ready to leave work in about 5 minutes or so. So that's good, Frank. That's certainly good to hear. Blind Owl in Chesterfield, South Carolina, just south of where I am. Heavy sleet right now. You're definitely kind of up in the sleet. Is it going to snow in Valentine's? Ask Cal. We actually had a couple reports of folks saying that they were seeing some flurries in Valentine a little bit earlier. You're not too far from where I am. I know here in Matthews, I'm lucky if I'm seeing just a couple snowflakes going by right now. I haven't even submitted an mping report to say flurries. If there's something between nothing and flurries, that's kind of what we're getting right now. So we are hoping, snow lovers are currently hoping that we might get some snow here on the south side of Charlotte, but you guys know, even though we haven't had a significant widespread snowstorm like this in 3 years, that south of Interstate 85, it can be a real struggle sometimes to get more in the way of snow than in sleet. It was January 2022 that I last stood out here. I was anxious to come stand out here again. And I'm hoping that as we continue to go on through the evening hours, there's maybe something more to see here, because there's not much to show you right now as I'm standing here. So how much in McDowell? You'll probably get more than 2 inches, depending on where you are in McDowell. Upper amounts of winter precipitation will be 4, 5, maybe 6 inches as you make your way into the higher elevations of western North Carolina. The foothills, maybe 1 or 2. We're going to be lucky if we can get an inch in uptown Charlotte. But remember, in order for the snow to count here in Charlotte, folks, it's got to snow at the airport. We got to have measurable snow at the airport. That is kind of the key. So there's a beautiful shot. It's good to see that less people are on the road right now in Boone, where it was snowing a little bit earlier. Will be snowing again as they will continue to get northwest flow throughout the rest of the evening hours. But it's certainly good to see that there are less people on the roads. And I hope you guys like Frank and Raleigh are able to get someplace to kind of hunker on down for the rest of the night. It's 3:15 right now as you're continuing to watch continuing snow coverage here on the Carolina Weather Group. I'm James Brierton, and let's take our radar full. What we're going to do here, as I will be coming back and forth with you, as will other folks from the Carolina Weather Group throughout the day to give you an update. We're going to take you back on over to a briefing that North Carolina officials held a little bit earlier today. Newly elected Governor Josh Stein, along with the officials that run the North Carolina Department of Transportation, held a briefing a little bit earlier today to talk about snow preparations and what they are doing. Remember, they do have a state of emergency in effect for this particular snowstorm. And so they talk a little bit about what it is they are doing from a state government standpoint. Let's take a listen to that.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in to the Carolina Weather Group. We have been watching the weather all day here with snow showers now starting to come in across a good portion of the Carolinas. We are getting in reports of snow now coming in from southern Mecklenburg County. We've heard from friends in the upstate of South Carolina and in the foothills and the mountains of North Carolina as well. Love to get your reports. Love to hear what's going on. Where you are, maybe you've got snow coming down. A couple of us saw sleet earlier today, and then we saw a transition over to rain, and then we saw this transition back over to snow. So a lot of us have had a lot of different conditions throughout the day today. But here for the local Charlotte area, still looking for those snow showers to continue throughout the afternoon into the evening hours. Looking at anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches of snow, depending on where you are. Probably about an inch here in Charlotte. And we are concerned about some of that ice, particularly south of Charlotte, where we could see up to a 1/4 inch of ice. So we're keeping a very close eye on that. Of course, we'll let you know what's going on. Getting in reports from all sorts of folks all over the area. We've got Rich checking in now. He says that he's got snow in Huntersville. Rich, appreciate that report. Thank you so much. Chris checking in East Charlotte. They've got flurries over there. I'm just outside of the South Charlotte area in Ballantyne, where we've got some snow coming down as well. We had a lot of sleet earlier today, but it has finally made that transition over to snow. Same here for Kimberly. She is in Unionville, North Carolina. Thank you so much for checking in, Kimberly. You've got some snow flurries coming up there. And Chris said that some of those flurries had just started in East Charlotte. Adam Johnson checking in from the ATL down in Atlanta. Thanks so much for checking in where they've got freezing rain. Now, interestingly, in Atlanta this morning, they had a nice burst of snow where they got about 3 inches in and around the metro, and now a little bit of some ice. And I do want to talk about that ice situation. Specifically here in the Carolinas, we are concerned about travel conditions, particularly this afternoon, into this evening, and throughout the day, especially early tomorrow morning. That's when we could see, and likely will see, some really slick and icy spots as you're traveling around the Carolinas. So please be very careful. This is a live look in Aiken, South Carolina right now. Looks like we could have some freezing rain, maybe a little bit of some freezing mist going on there. And then back to the radar here, you can see a lot of this green filling in is starting to transition over to snow, a little bit of some heavier snow as well. Could see some of those bands starting to pick up even more as we head throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. So we've got live continuing team coverage here with the Carolina Weather Group. We've got friends and our meteorologist checking in throughout the night, going to bring you live coverage. Here's a look from Anderson, and look at that. I mean, this is going to be the picture that most of us are going to be seeing later on. where we've got these dangerous conditions, what we're talking about, low visibility, temperature right now 28 degrees in Anderson, South Carolina, where they've got some light snow. They've also got some fog and mist. And that's why we're saying, please try to stay off of the roads if you can throughout the rest of the afternoon. More friends checking in. Got some snow in southwest Rowan County, northern Kannapolis area. Thanks for checking in here. Carolina Air Shots. Love to hear what's going on in your neighborhood as well. Maybe you had the day off of work today. A lot of schools were closed. Maybe you got to stay home, work from home. Maybe you had some snow earlier and now it's transitioned over to ice. Whatever it is, love to hear from you and love to check in from friends all across the Carolinas. Looking at Asheville, North Carolina right now, 31 degrees overcast, but look at the snow that's already on the ground here. The Asheville area could pick up a couple of inches as well. So this is something that we're going to be watching here. Here's a look at the quick forecast for the rest of the evening. We're going to see those snow showers here in the Charlotte area across the Carolinas. That I-77, I-85 corridor, maybe about an inch or two of ice. But as you get up into the I-40 corridor, towards Hickory, and as we get into the foothills, that's where we could see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. But the real winner is going to be the high country up in the mountains. And here's a look at Boone right now, where they could get anywhere from 4 to maybe 6 or more inches of snow. This is an infamous shot here with King Street. Look at the plow there. Already so much snow along King Street. A lot of folks walking. Be careful on the sidewalks as you're driving there. Again, some spots in the mountains could see upwards of 6 inches of snow. So this is very exciting. A lot of folks checking in saying, we haven't seen snow in over 1,000 days. It's almost been 3 years. So this is a big deal. Another reminder just to take it easy, especially as you're on the roads, because again, for most of us, it's been about 3 years since we've had this winter weather, and we want you to be safe. We want you to be careful, particularly tonight, the overnight hours, and early tomorrow morning. Here in the Charlotte area, we might not actually see temperatures above freezing until about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So all the more reason to take it easy. Charleston, South Carolina. Now, they did have a little bit of some sleet earlier this morning. Now they've got mostly cloudy skies. It's 37 degrees. That looks like the College of Charleston. Love checking in there and love to hear what's going on in your neighborhood as well. You can check in on our YouTube page, find and follow us on social media with the Carolina Weather Group, and let us know how the conditions are, how you're getting ready for the snow day. Perfect to get it on a Friday into the weekend. Hopefully you've got the weekend off and you can stay inside and enjoy. Bank of America Stadium, here we go. And you can see we've got snow falling in uptown Charlotte. Won't be long before those stadium seats are filled with snow. But a beautiful shot there from uptown. It is 32 degrees, and we've got snow falling in the Queen City. Rest of the afternoon, those snow showers are going to pick up. We're going to see anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches here in the Charlotte area. Temperatures will be falling into the overnight hours into the 20s. So you want to be careful. The roadways, especially the neighborhood roads, the side streets, the ones that aren't necessarily treated, got to watch out for those because they will get slick and they will get icy. DOT crews have been out all day along 77, 485, the major roadways. They have been certainly helping with the brine and getting the salt down, but still, best bit of advice from DOT and from officials is to stay inside. Stay off of the roads. There's Columbia. It's 30 degrees. Might have a little bit of some freezing rain, freezing drizzle going on here. It looks like we got some on the camera there. We'll check back in with them. It's 30 degrees in Columbia. Thanks to friends checking in. Again, the Carolina Weather Group's going to be here with you throughout the rest of the afternoon into the evening. We've got continuing team coverage with meteorologists throughout the Carolinas. We'll also be checking in with weather watchers all across the Carolinas to get the latest updates and latest reports as to what's going on. Snow has definitely increased here in the last couple of minutes, last couple of hours across Charlotte area. We had a bit of some sleet to begin with around 2 o'clock, but that has transitioned over to snow. We do believe that we are going to see a good bit of snow here for the next couple of hours, coating maybe 1 to 2 inches across the Charlotte area. So we're really, really excited about that. Love to check in with you. We've got lots of friends saying, and one friend said, make sure you tip your Uber drivers tonight if they're out there. They're definitely doing some extra work to keep us all fed, but that's definitely some good advice there. I've been getting flurries in Charlotte, northwest corner of I-485 since about 3 o'clock, dusting parts of the neighborhood. Thanks for checking in, Jay. We really appreciate that. We'd love to hear from you as well, what you've got going on. Again, for so many of us, this is the first time we are seeing snow in nearly 3 years here in the Carolinas, so this is really exciting. This is Florence, South Carolina. It's 32 degrees. Look at the cars out there. Please be careful. It looks like this is 95 southbound. Lots of cars staying off the roads this afternoon, which is the best bit of advice, but it's 32 there in Florence. That is freezing. So any of that precipitation on the roadway likely frozen. A look at radar here. You can still see from Charlotte to Columbia out to Wilmington. The system is rolling in. We've got snow falling across the Carolinas. Coming down pretty good in the Boone area as well. We're going to go back to that camera so you can see. Most of us are here right around freezing or a little bit below. So anything falling from the sky is likely going to be snow. This is Greensboro. Check that out. Look at the snow that has been falling throughout Greensboro today. Got a couple of reports here from Greensboro. Pretty amazing. They're going to pick up a couple of inches of snow as well. The further north you go, not as much of an ice threat, but for Charlotte, I-85 corridor and points south, we got to watch out for that ice threat, particularly tonight and into the early morning hours tomorrow. Got a friend checking in from Lancaster, South Carolina. Started as sleet, heading over to snow. Thank you so much for checking in. And we appreciate this too. Friend checking in saying, thank you so much for the stream. Just moved to South Carolina from the Northeast. You can blame me for the snow. Don't know how many folks are going to be blaming you for the snow. I think we're pretty excited to see it here after 3 years, but we appreciate you bringing it down. Just want to make sure that everybody's safe as we head throughout the next couple of hours. I'm Tom Miner, Carolina Weather Group. We are going to continue to bring you live team coverage throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening. We want to make sure that you are prepared, you know what's going on, that you've got a plan with the snow. Maybe you're going to have enough to build a snowman. If you're farther north and west, up in the mountains, you'll certainly have plenty here in Charlotte. I think a slushy, icy inch or two is probably our best bet, especially in parts of the northern part of the county as you head up towards Huntersville and Cornelius. Check this out. This is Greer, South Carolina. Overcast conditions. It's 33 degrees, but it looks like we've got maybe some freezing rain or maybe a little bit of freezing drizzle going on here, even though it says 33. We got to keep an eye on that. Low visibility. So once again, another good reason to stay off of the road. Please be very, very careful. I think that's one thing that a lot of us kind of forget about here, especially after 3 years of very limited winter weather, how icy our roads can get. And most of us here in Charlotte and the Carolinas were not necessarily prepared from a DOT standpoint to handle situations like this on the road. We can put down the salt, we can put down the brine, which we'll certainly do, but you got to be careful. Looks like this is Hatteras, North Carolina, 35 degrees, fair skies. Love seeing checking in with folks from all over. And love to hear what's happening in your neighborhood as well. You can send us photos on X, find and follow us on Instagram. We can see what's going on in your neighborhood and throughout the Carolinas with the Carolina Weather Group. Another sky cam here. I want to take you back to uptown Charlotte. I love this view of Bank of America Stadium. And check this out. We've got snowflakes flying in uptown Charlotte. Looks like we're finally going to break that snow drought of 1,080 days. And today is the day. A day that will go down in history. January 10th, 2025. It is 32 degrees in uptown Charlotte. Love this view here. Another radar view here. We'll take a look at this. This has been one that's been pretty interesting to watch. This is throughout the Carolinas. You see all these little dots here, all these little graphic snowflakes, snow flurries. Folks checking in, letting us know what's going on in their neck of the woods. A lot of this red down here, likely sleet. We've seen a lot of that in the upstate of South Carolina, but we're also seeing this transition over to blue as well, which is snow. This is happening all the way from Asheville to Boone to Charlotte, where we have seen that transition over. But again, we still have a lot of this sleet in the upstate of South Carolina. And eventually this is going to make its way into the Carolinas, particularly the Charlotte area, later on tonight. So that's why I want to be especially careful on the roads. Sleet is essentially little ice pellets and extremely dangerous to drive on. Then you add in a layer of potentially some freezing rain, which is essentially just a glaze of ice. We're talking about really treacherous travel conditions. Back to uptown Charlotte, just because I love this picture so much. There it is. The snow is coming down. It is happening. We've got snow in Lancaster, South Carolina. We're also getting in some reports of snow in the Kannapolis area, Rowan County, in Gaston County. We've got snow that's coming down. Flurries still continuing in East Charlotte, the foothills, the mountains up in Boone. We've got snow as well. And looks like we've got another friend checking in. Snow is starting to stick in China Grove. They're getting larger and heavier, which is great. And this is about right here because we are going to continue to see the snow pick up throughout the afternoon, and it is going to get a little bit more heavy. We could see a little nice burst of snow here somewhere developing across the Carolinas, maybe here in the Charlotte region. That could certainly put down a quick inch or two. Still seeing some flurries in Graham as well. Thanks so much for checking in. Love to hear what's going on in your area as well so that we can continue to track this together and look at more snow updates and winter weather updates throughout the afternoon. Thank you so much for checking in. The Carolina Weather Group, I'm Tom Miner. So glad to be here with you and grateful for the opportunity to share this winter storm coverage with you. Got a team of meteorologists and weather watchers that will be continuing to bring updates throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours so that you stay safe, you stay prepared. That's our biggest thing. We want to make sure that our viewers and everyone throughout the Carolinas remain safe throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the overnight hours. By the way, something to point out, I was talking to James about this earlier. Temperatures tomorrow will get into the upper 30s, lower 40s. It's going to be very cold on Sunday. And for the next several nights, our overnight lows are going to be in the 20s. Low 20s. So anything that we see fall tonight, throughout the day tomorrow, I mean, this could be sticking around for a couple of days. We could get temperatures above freezing throughout the daytime hours and then see a refreeze overnight. So this is not just for Saturday morning. This is for Sunday morning as well. You know, a lot of folks have brunch and church service plans on Sunday morning. So keep that in mind. Sunday morning could also be icy on some of those roadways. And we could see that as well for Monday too. So definitely want to make sure that you are safe. Checking in with more friends here. It looks like we've got sleet and a slight frozen mixture in Laurinburg. That's been going on for the last hour or so. So that's pretty exciting. Love to see some pictures. Love to hear what's going on as the snow continues to fall here across the Carolinas. We'll go back to some more views here across the Carolinas as well. This is Anderson, South Carolina, where you can see they've got light snow. They've also got very reduced visibility. So this is all the more reason to stay off the roads throughout the rest of the afternoon. Stay at home. If you can leave work a little early, check with the boss. That's the best bit of advice. Just tell them Carolina Weather Group said it's okay, and it'll be all right. Continuing to watch radar, more of those snow showers are pushing in from the south. And we're going to continue to see that here throughout the rest of the afternoon and into the overnight hours. Here's a look at Asheville right now. I think this is amazing. 31 degrees. They've seen a good bit of snow throughout the day already, and you can see a lot of that on the rooftops. Some of that is also sticking on some of those roadways as well. Love that view there from Asheville. It's 31 degrees. Snow continues to fall here across the Carolinas. And again, we've mentioned this, but this is such a big deal. This is our first snow event in 1,080 days. Almost 3 years here of very limited winter weather in the Carolinas. So a lot of us are very excited. Love to hear your snow day plans too. Your perfect snow day. Maybe you stay in, maybe you're watching the movies, maybe you've got the hot chocolate. You can let us know in the comments. Love to share yours. Boone, North Carolina. Love this from King Street. This is absolutely incredible. Just a very legendary shot. Many of us have been here in Boone before. Here go the cars there. Please be very careful. You can see a lot of that slush is sticking on the roadways and snow sticking just about everywhere. Boone, by the way, for our friends checking in Boone, general 4 to 6 inches, maybe even more in some of those higher elevations. The mountains definitely getting the jackpot with this system, where they're going to see several inches of snow. Here in the Charlotte area, we're not completely out of this. We could see anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches. Northern Mecklenburg County going to get certainly a little bit more, but the farther south you head, maybe a slushy inch there. College of Charleston, love this view as well. Hello to our friends checking in there in Charleston. 37 degrees, mostly cloudy. My brother lives in Charleston. He called me earlier this morning and said that they had sleet in Charleston, which was pretty exciting and also little crazy for Charleston there. They're not necessarily made for winter weather like Boone would be. So please be careful if you're there. But right now it's 37, cloudy skies. Not really a winter weather threat here for Charleston. There's a look at radar again. Those snow showers are going to continue. We're going to see some heavier bands of snow continue into the overnight hours as well. They will make their way into the Charlotte area. There's Bank of America Stadium. It's 32 degrees. We've got snow that is coming down. It's absolutely incredible. As I mentioned, Tom Miner here, Carolina Weather Group, our team of meteorologists working to make sure that you are informed and updated as we make our way throughout the next several hours here into the overnight hours, bringing you the latest winter weather coverage. Want to make sure that you're safe in the snow, that you have a little bit of some fun. But we also want to make sure that you are informed on all the latest developments. Winter storm warning for much of the Carolinas continues till about 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. The governor of North Carolina, Governor Stein, has issued a state of emergency. That will continue throughout the day tomorrow as well. And the best bit of advice from DOT and local officials and just about everybody here is to stay off the roads, stay home, stay warm. There's Columbia, South Carolina. It's 30 degrees. It looks like we got some freezing rain going on there. Love to hear from folks in Columbia. Love to hear if you've got snow, if you've got some sleet, but it looks like maybe a little bit of some freezing rain. Love to hear from you. Live continuing team coverage. That'll continue. We are going to sporadically bring you updates throughout the afternoon and evening. We'll jump back on here in a little while. In the meantime, you'll continue to see a stream of cameras and the radar from areas all across the Carolinas here as we continue to track this winter storm with the Carolina Weather Group. We'll be back. Have a great evening. Be safe out there. Take it easy.
James Brierton with you now. Here in South Charlotte, I'm going to take over from Tom for a moment if I can. He's been doing a great job keeping you updated as we've been tracking the snow moving through the area. And I want to show you what we're getting here too, if I can. So bear with me just a moment. He'll be back with you. He's been doing a fabulous job. I don't think he knew I was going to sneak on in here on you. But just to kind of show you. There we go. All right, so here on the south side of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County near Matthews, this is some of the heavier snow that we have been seeing, and the camera's probably not doing a great job picking up, but we are starting to see some of it accumulating in place. As a matter of fact, there's a pretty good layer right now on my cars. I'm going to see if I can make this video signal a little bit clearer. I know out here it's not the greatest, but as you guys have been talking and hanging out with Tom, we've been watching the snow picking up a little bit here in South Charlotte, and this might be what you're seeing where you are too, folks. This is some of the strongest snow we have seen here so far. Matter of fact, now that I've adjusted that shot a little bit, you can kind of probably just make out the front of the car, and you can start to see a little bit how it's been accumulating here. This is an official dusting on top of my vehicle, but what is probably most pressing and most interesting is we did get confirmation in the last few minutes from the National Weather Service that Charlotte's snow drought of 1,075 days or whatever it is has officially been broken, because the weather observer at Charlotte Douglas International Airport did manage to take a measurable snow reading, and that's been the difference between this storm and some of the other snow opportunities we've had, is that in order to have snow count for any place, but Charlotte in particular, you have to have snow observed at the official weather observation location, which for Charlotte, again, is Charlotte Douglas International Airport. So in some of the other occasions that we've had in recent weeks where it snowed, it had to have snowed at Charlotte Douglas and not just, say, up by North Lake Mall, for instance. So I did zoom that shot out so you could see the car a little bit better. And this is the stuff that is the reason why travel is going to be so difficult as we head on through the rest of the evening hours, because you can see on untreated surfaces like my car how it kind of layers on. That's going to freeze, and that's the same thing we'll be watching for on the roadways. Right now where I am here, a lot of it is melting, but the road is wet, and so with the really cold temperatures that are going to be with us all throughout the remainder of the evening hours into tomorrow, that's just going to freeze. So even though there's no snow accumulating right now on the roadway, there is liquid, there is water, and that's going to become ice. And so that's what we're going to have to worry about. And that's why, as Tom was saying, the governor has issued that state of emergency. Some of that it's a technicality, right? It allows them to offer up more funds and things and move certain resources about in ways that maybe they wouldn't have been able to otherwise. But also, you know, it is kind of a, hey, don't travel. Things aren't looking all that great type of deal. So, here's a look right now at Charlotte. So you can see the snow coming down at Bank of America Stadium, thanks to the weather sim. And certainly on our radar right now, we can see the snow sleet line is real close between Charlotte and even the state line and South Carolina. It's kind of right now between North Carolina and South Carolina. The difference between snow and rain. We're starting to look at this camera here. This is Greenville, North Carolina, waiting to see as things kind of progress and move into that neck of the woods, how things work out there. I think we are starting to see snow falling now in Raleigh, and I know we've had Frank watching from out there all day long. Thanks to Eyes of Heaven for this $15 super chat. Appreciate your support of the Carolina Weather Group. We couldn't do live streams like this or a weekly weather show without you, so we do very much appreciate that report. Jay says he's been getting flurries in Charlotte, northwest corner there, since about 3 p.m. He certainly has. We're only been getting some of those here in South Charlotte for the past hour or so. The foothills are all white, says Nippy. So thanks for that report. You guys certainly been getting in on the snow. Here's Florence, South Carolina. You can see not much to see on the ground there right now, and we don't expect to see a whole lot in South Carolina. But it's you know, like I mentioned, we're gonna watch for ice, because anything that gets down onto the roadways could potentially freeze as we head on through the rest of the hour. Snowing hard right now in North Huntersville. It's amazing what the difference is between northern Mecklenburg County and southern Mecklenburg County, as we've seen time and time again. Tiny flakes falling in Graham, says R. Ferguson. And so we're going to continue to keep an eye on this. You know, I've watched it go back and forth several times between snow and freezing rain. Here's a live look at UNC Greensboro from WeatherStem. You can see a nice white coating on the ground. Appreciate these live views from our partners at WeatherStem. Coming back out here to southern Mecklenburg County. You know, we're really walking a fine line between what is snow and what has been sleet, because I've seen it go back and forth now, but this has been pretty consistently snow for the past hour or so, and we'll continue to watch it. As Tom said, the Carolina Weather Group will be in and out with you throughout the course of the evening hours. We'll take you back over to the Carolina Weather Net. Tom and I will be back in a little bit. Keep the chat going. Love to see what you guys are saying in chat as we continue to track this first significant Carolina snowstorm in some 3 years.